Into the ropes and off. A flying tackle by and a drop kick.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Got to hold this just a minute. You want a little bit more?
I'm the real heavyweight champion.
That'd be the best of me. More to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
They call this the 10 pounds of gold. The championship has existed in its current proper form since 19.
Nightingale pretty hard, and look at Buddy going to work now. Oh!
Hey everybody, it's Durger time. Thank you for joining me once again for another episode of TEW 2020, Billy Corgan's NWA. Last episode, we had a pretty gnarly injury. Eli Drake getting a broken jaw after working last week. Not sure how, we didn't get a botch warning from anybody. I just somehow, in the heat of the moment, he ended up getting hurt. He's not going to miss any dates, at least allegedly, but definitely something we are concerned about. I think reasonably so, but especially considering that he's going to be in our main event against Brian Pillman. But if we need to call an audible, we can, but certainly kind of worrisome. We also got some friction that I kind of missed in the last episode. Crazy Mary and Sean Richter, obviously Eli Drake, are at war with each other, having a bitter hatred that has developed between the two, which is interesting. I don't remember seeing anything about that. Is there... I don't know if I can see personality clashes in here. Check Eli and see. I don't know if there is something in here. Backstage Trouble. Here on a local TV show yesterday. When did this happen? Saturday. One interesting comments was that she and Eli Drake don't really like each other. So something we could try to repair. But it's definitely something we're going to have to look at and worry about if that continues. I must have missed the initial discussion about it. Otherwise, the show went down very well. We almost packed the arena with our meager, 495 fans. But other than the injury, it was generally pretty okay. We talked about setting some development down. And I think we will do that. And one of the things that I think it's time to do is Tim Storm here. I think we can send down to the minors here for us. I think it'd be useful for him. send that, girls. Send him down over here. Not going to do an excursion. I think just send a developmental will be good for him. Where he can go down to CCW, work as a developmental talent, perhaps get some, just general work done in terms of just getting some more training. He's way too green to be on NWA at this point. I don't know if we could send him away either. Don't really need to send him to developmental, but I don't have any intent. Too small. Yeah, I'm not going to upset him. I could send him for an excursion for a year, but really just unnecessary. There may be other people we may want to send down, just because we're not really utilizing. So, keep them warm down there, let them build momentum, and we can always bring them back. I think Wheeler will be one of those. Anybody else? I mean, we might want to do that with some of our women's division as well. Kind of hard to know. Royce Isaacs, we kind of have him in a thing right now, so that doesn't make much sense. Ricky Ruffin might be a good one to send down for now. That way they just also don't incur any penalties and they can kind of grow. That's probably good for now. I think that's good for now. We also have to clear out some of our roster here with the losses. So shocking losses of Leo, Rush, Zack Ryder, John Silver, Dr. Cube, and Brandon Cutler. I think we got rid of some of them already, but I think Dr. Cube we need to send away. Who else do we need to? Is Zack Ryder still on here? Zack Ryder is annoyed, so it'll be good that we just send them away now. Right, Zack? Yep. Real upset, but that's what I kind of like about it, that he lost that match. It's definitely a better way to do the randomizer, doing it that way. That way, we will release him. Unfortunately, he probably ain't going to be coming back anytime soon, but that's fine. I think we got rid of John Silver and get rid of Leo Rush. Leo Rush hurts. Would he accept being sent away to developmental? I'm gonna send him down there for now. We can always bring him back up. While we're paying him, we might as well utilize him. I could have done that with Zack too, but I think he would not have taken the opportunity to go down there. Brandon Cutler and John Silver, I believe we already dropped. Yeah, so we got that. Someone was asking in our Discord, which if you're not a member, please join. There's a link in the description of the channel. Always like to see new faces in there. And it's a pretty great place to talk about the channel, talk about wrestling, talk about whatever you want, really, for the most part. But someone was asking what it looked like down there in terms of CCW. Now, we still have DJ Hyde as the owner. We're probably going to really replace him at some point. In fact, does it have to be someone that's down there? These are all unemployed. Give it to Teddy Hart. All the people that would be willing to run it. There's definitely some options here. Person that I kind of wanted it to have not really showing up here, and I don't think we have anything set up in here to change this. Yeah, so some of our people are just not set up for that. I kind of would have wanted to give it to Tim Storm. Give him something to do while his son's down there. Let's see if we can talk to him real quick. I'd like you to... in-ring physical lifestyle. No, not really a way to set him up to be an owner, oddly enough. Not sure why. Someone probably in the comments could tell me why he's not able to be set up that way. In terms of titles, right now we got the heavyweight is Joe Gacy. Tag teams are Ellis Taylor and Charlie Tiger. And Wired is Casey Navarro. And then obviously we had the Tournament of Death and Best of the Best tournaments. So kind of interesting. I don't know if we're going to bring them up anytime soon, but we'll definitely keep an eye on what they're doing down there and kind of see if there's an opportunity to bring them up. Now, we got next show is scheduled in 13 days. That seems wrong. Let's check that real quick. Every Friday we air, and I think we're showing it on Fridays, air it on Tuesdays. Seems a little weird. It seems like it should be on next Friday. It should be like 6 days from now. Not sure why it's not popping up that way. Week 2. We'll go fast forward for now. Hopefully we can correct it. Alright guys, we are back, and holy hell, looks like BGW just let go of everybody. I don't know what's going on over there, but it sure looks like they just dropped a ton of their talent. Very interesting. I mean, so many people. It might have just been completely bloated, but that's very interesting. Doesn't really probably affect us very much. Don't really have any sights set over there, unfortunately, but definitely an interesting thing. Very, very weird to see so many just drop. Figured out what was happening too. We had it scheduled for tonight, but it won't air until Tuesday. So that kind of explains what happened there. We're gonna have to probably change up our Halloween Havoc schedule, because if we were to do the next Friday, we might have to do a double week of Power, which would be very odd, because otherwise, if we did an episode tonight, it'll air on Tuesday, and if we did an episode on Friday, we would have to film something that took place after the pay-per-view, which is kind of confusing. So yeah, that just seems like that's gonna be a mess. So we're gonna have to fix that. I think we're just gonna air them Fridays from now on live instead of airing it on Tuesdays, and just be done with it. And that should save us a little bit of grief. Last month we lost 103,000, so still financially looking not horrendous. We could end up coming out okay. Our sponsorship revenue looks a little bit lighter, which is kind of unfortunate. Obviously, we had that big lump of money that we had to pay for, so we don't know where we're going to shake out here. But let's all go ahead and get to the show and see if we can put on a good one as we kind of build up to our next pay-per-view. All right. Thankfully, no backstage incidents. I'm going to try to meddle, and I don't know if this is going to work, but it's not like it can get much that worse. Let's try to get Eli Drake and our bud fixed up here. Oh, who was it that was causing trouble here? Where's our relationships? This should show it right in here. No pre-booked. Absent workers. Contract has been done for that. Stage incidents. I am trying to remember where the morale is. Backstage. Here we go. Okay. Where's our notable relationships? Crazy Mary and Eli Drake have some tension. So is Miro and Eli Drake. This is likely not going to work. This may even make things worse. We just don't know. They don't like each other. Fairly high chance of achieving anything. Failing to achieve anything. We'll try. No effect. Ain't gonna hurt. Unfortunate though. We gotta get ourselves set up in our soundstage. Can fit 850. I don't know why I thought we had a 500 capacity. We have a lot larger than that. So we are not filling it to capacity. We are expecting... let's see, 448 fans, a little bit less than last time. Popularity in the region's 44. Gotta move the needle a little bit. If we keep on putting on shows like we were doing, I think we will be fine. But the goal is definitely to blow it out of the water. Also have to continue our tournament, so we're going to go ahead and run a couple more matches in our first round of that tournament, which will be randomly decided. And yeah, let's build up to not a go-home show, a show before the go-home show, as we build up to Halloween Havoc. And yeah, let's put on a good show. Alright guys, we got a kind of a light one. We're 122 minutes in instead of the full 125 that were allotted. 3 tournament matches. We're keeping it a little light because we do have a whole other go-home show to account for, so I'm kind of spacing out some of the final moments of our storylines for the month through both of them. But pretty okay show overall with a little bit of story development. So let's go ahead and look at this 2-hour power. So pre-show, we have Desmond Xavier versus Effie in our tournament. What I've been doing is I've been using the Google coin flipper best 2 out of 3 times to just kind of make it completely random. And the pre-show match had decent wrestling, but did not have very much heat at all. Effie defeats Xavier in 8 minutes of pinfall with a boot to leg DDT. Moves on in the tournament. They're both about evenly matched, so not too bad. Both got a gimmick of great, and Xavier unfortunately does not move on in the tournament though. And then we have the CZW champion, Casey Navarro, versus Jonathan Gresham. Both people very interested in potentially having in the NWA at some point. Navarro obviously has an out, Gresham not as much. In the match, we have Navarro defeating Gresham, though, in 10 minutes and moving on in the tournament. Navarro actually has a weaker performance than Gresham, 61. I think he's in Ring of Honor now, in real life, I want to say. I don't remember where he was that we pulled him out during the recruitment of the tournament. Either way, gets a 55, which is pretty okay for a pre-show. Unfortunately, Gresham's underdog gimmick, which doesn't feel really that right, got an initial rating of awful. Navarro got a great, though. Chaotic Nature kind of held him back a bit, which is really impressive when you consider that he had a 61. I tried to make it I think it was not a wild brawl, I think it was mayhem, just trying to give Navarro the edge, due to him being in CZW, maybe having a bit more of a hardcore status. Didn't really play out. Be very curious to see what Gresham would have done without this. Unfortunately, not being able to move him forward, though, and Navarro moves on instead. We start the show with Nick Aldis tagging with Ty Ray. Kind of an interesting tag team mixture here. Nick Aldis obviously sort of now wandering alone without really anybody. He did pull Ryback in when he was part of the board, but it seems like they've kind of gone their separate ways. Nick Aldis is sort of directionless. We got to find a direction for him. I don't really have one yet, but I think we'll have something for him after Halloween Havoc. In the meantime, though, he is here to wrestle the Contra unit, who, despite winning the initial tournament, have a pretty poor string of luck here. And this continues that poor string of luck where Nick Aldis and Ty Ray defeat Contra unit after Nick Aldis pins Joey Machete. Fatu was head over heels with everyone else. Joey Machete was the weak link. Heel turns not going, or the turns aren't really going very well for the fans here, unfortunately, as there's sort of mannerisms and hints within them. Aldis had a 52, Ty Ray had a 43, Jacob had a 61, and Machete had a 34. Shard started to show off pretty strong and got the crowd hotter, and gave us a 49, which is not too bad for opening. Afterwards, we have a segment where Fatu is just looking furious at this point, and ends up attacking Joey Machete after picking him up from the ground, leaving him injured and confused as he just storms off after kind of hitting him and just attacking him. Seems that Fatu has kind of been sick of partnering with Machete, and almost every match they've been in, Machete's really been the one that has kind of lost it for them. It seems like that's kind of bubbling up. We do have hints at a double face heel turn here, and it didn't really go well with their reactions to the crowd here. We're gonna go ahead and do it. They're not gonna like it, but it's fine. Turn went badly, but we're gonna deal with it. Oh well. Afterwards, we have a backstage segment. We got Josephus and Brody and the rest of the cult are in their sort of private, dimly lit locker room, and Brody is still kind of just in the corner, upset, having lost his match against Pentagon, and we have Josephus kind of walking up to him and speaking to Brody, and Brody, despite being a much taller guy, much bigger man, seems to have a bit of fear in his eyes when Josephus talks. And Josephus starts to kind of sermonize to him, and he says, we all have our failures. And we've all seen what happens when those failures consume us, which kind of hinting at what had happened to grounded Flip Gordon. You know that the Lord of Light that was once going to give us salvation has abandoned us. His light has been dimmed. But in that darkness, a new Lord has shown me clarity and shown us a path to true strength. You have a demon to conquer, Brody, and if you are to prove you are ready to survive what will come soon, you must vanquish it. That is why I want you at Halloween Havoc to face Pentagon again. You must defeat him, and only then can you truly evolve into what you must become. So Josephus obviously giving a hit to Brody, saying that he must face Pentagon, he must defeat him, and completely defeat him, and also hinting that basically the sort of the religion, the Lord of Light, the being that has given Josephus all these visions over the years, the avatar of the Lord of Light, who used to be Christopher Daniels, has abandoned him. The discussions from the Lord of Light have diminished in his mind, but now a new, darker voice has come over him, which certainly hints at why there's sort of a change in how they're acting. There's more kind of Darwinistic attitude. There's more bleaker attitude that has come out, and it seems that Brody wants to destroy Pentagon as a way for, or Josephus wants to destroy Pentagon as a way for Brody to kind of prove to the cult that he is ready to do anything that they need to succeed. Segment overall gets a 48. It's actually not too bad. We got Matthias Breeze, who is Tyler Breeze, obviously, versus Royce Isaacs, which is one member of the Smokin' Aces versus one member of the New Union. It's a decent match. Did not have much heat, though. Matthias defeats Royce Isaacs in 7 minutes pinfall. We give Matthias a win here, 48 to 37. We advance the storyline of Eddie's Empire as the Smokin' Aces team kind of takes out one of the members of the Union. The problem with the Union here, it seems like that together they're strong, but individually, maybe not so much. And the rest of the Union seem to be preoccupied with something. We don't see them anywhere. And we find out why immediately after, as we see a couple of the bodies of the Union members kind of unconscious in the backstage. And as camera crew get in there, they find that Ace Austin, Zicky Dice, and Jarek 120 are all attacking Eddie Kingston, who's trying to put up his best fight as all three of them attack him, and eventually beat him up in the parking lodge and leave him to the ground. All-out war between Smoking Aces and Eddie's Union here, the Kingdom of the King, seemingly at full assault, and probably only going to increase in stakes and fervor as we get closer to the next pay-per-view. Segment underperforms here. Unfortunately, gets a 31. Not the end of the world, but kind of unfortunate here. Also, kind of an unfortunate match. We have Natty with a quick squash match with Willow, Nightingale. Willow not really performing very well. A 29. Natty had a 49. It's fine, I guess, but I was hoping that maybe these two would click a little bit better. But I think Willow, we might have to just send a developmental for the time being and do something else with her, because she's kind of lifting it down. Not that Natty was that much better. Well, kind of was. Almost 20 points ahead. But she's definitely struggling and probably not really pulling her weight for the division here at this point. Unfortunate. And we have another match for the tournament. We have actually on the show Mr. Anderson versus TJ Perkins. Anderson gets his special microphone entrance that pops the crowd pretty heavy, and kind of does a little improv in the moment. Does very good here. If we got him, as long as we have him on the show, we're going to use him. I don't remember how the coin flips flipped out for him, so this might be his last time on the show, unless we bring him in as a manager or a GM or something. But we'll see if he moves forward. And TJP versus Mr. Anderson. Good wrestling, decent reaction to the crowd. TJP does, in fact, defeat Mr. Anderson in 12 minutes. He moves on in the tournament. They actually both very close in performance. I would not hate putting Mr. Anderson somewhere in NWA anyways in the future, maybe as a manager, some type of authority figure or something like that. I could see using his natural charisma to a massive benefit for us. But even this, 51 in-ring performance is not too shabby. Unfortunately, TJP's gimmick got a poor rating, but he moves on and gives us a pretty good score of the night. Might be the best score of the night. We got the Von Eriks fighting Warhausen, who technically do not work here. Danhausen also technically the GM of the show, putting him and his buddy in a match against the champions, showing the creative nepotism that he is willing to go to. Unfortunately, he books himself a loss as the Von Eriks do defeat Warhausen. Marshall Von Erich submits Warhorse. We get a 41 and a 44 for the Von Eriks, 40 for Danhausen, and a 34 for Warhorse. And a lot of stuff going on. We got a heel turn being foreshadowed, obviously. We got the issue with because we should have been turned earlier, so that's kind of what we're trying to accomplish there. Gets us a 47, not too bad, and gives Von Eriks another win, showing why they are, in fact, still the NWA champions. Afterwards, we got FTR standing near the ring, staring down to Von Eriks, kind of doing the old point to the belt routine, just kind of trying to get into their heads a little bit and say that they are still coming for him. This segment underperforms pretty hard, 35. I don't remember whether I said it so that they would be for overness or entertainment, but either way, they kind of under-delivered there. Afterwards, another pretty good entertainment segment. We got an interview with Eli Drake about his injury, what's happening. He says that, the doctors still aren't sure 100%, but he did break his jaw in the match. Did not have to be wired shut, but needed to be tended to. He does think he can face Pillman at Havoc, but the doctors have not officially cleared him yet. In it, obviously, he's kind of playing a good baby face here, talking about how he has always wanted the opportunity, and always feels like every time he gets close, something happens, someone shows up, and he's not going to let this stop him. Does very well, seems very sympathetic. We still don't know if we're actually going to get him in the match. I think he can wrestle. He's working through it. I just kind of want to see what he looks like medically, because I don't want him to freaking lose his jaw out there for a match that we could always do later down the line, 74, though, does really well. This actually kind of underperforms compared to what I thought it was going to be. You got Ari Fox, who's going on to try to challenge for the Alliance title, facing Miro, our former champion, who kind of has a bit of a grudge, trying to pick fights with top talent to try to build his way back up. Unfortunately, Ari Fox actually defeats Miro in 19 minutes, proving that maybe he has the right stuff to actually go ahead and face Lance Archer again. We had a 59 for Ari Fox, 64 for Miro, 59 total for the segment. It's not too bad. I can't complain about that. Ends up, it is the best match of the show so far. And with one more in the pipe, I think it probably will remain our top one. After the fact, Lance Archer comes back to NWA to assault Ari Fox in the ring, in which they have a scuffle, and Lance Archer does, in fact, get the better of it, or Fox gets the worst of it, I should say, and Archer stands tall in the fight, leaving him on the ground and making it known that he is not going to take Ari Fox's challenge very lightly, and that he will make him suffer for trying to challenge for his title again. And then he wanders back off to AEW. So segment gets a 49. It's okay. I think we had it set for fighting or menace for Lance Archer and selling for AR Fox, and it did fine. We probably could have tweaked it and got something a little bit higher, but it seemed like it was the right call at the time. After that, we got our main event. Ryback really off his game, getting to face Pillman Jr. in an exhibition match. Ryback, obviously another big new challenger, getting an opportunity to prove himself. And if he were to win this match, very likely be the number one contender after Halloween Havoc. He does not, though. Pillman Jr. does persevere, despite Ryback still looking strong, still looking dominant as hell out there. Pillman is able to overcome him and get another win under his belt as he goes into probably facing Eli Drake, but potentially facing a surprise opponent if he is not medically cleared. So we got 52 for Pillman, 44 for Ryback. It's not bad. Got the crowd buzzing. It's pretty good for the end of the show. 51. We might get like a 57 or 58 here for the night. It's not too bad. Yeah, 57. Increases her popularity all the way around. That's a slam dunk of a show. Little upset about some of the way the coin flips landed. I kind of really wanted Mr. Anderson to stick around a little bit more. I like TJP, but Mr. Anderson's entertainment had some potential for us. I also like John Grisham a lot, or at least I like his mask a lot. So there's some options to do with that. But unfortunate, that is the way the round one cookie crumbles for Circle Squared tournament here. Other than that, got some story building. Overall, pretty good show. All right, Power Report. We had 497 fans, about the same as we had last time. Show went down excellently, thankfully. Nothing in the news for us that we really have to worry about, as far as I can tell here. And no outstanding mail or anything. So, thankfully, the Eli Drake Crazy Mary relationship doesn't seem to be affecting us too bad. We financially are probably going to be in trouble. Yeah, I kind of suspected that we were going to probably be eating this. We're going to start taking losses here, I think. I don't know if we get more of our sponsorship back up, we might be okay. Our merchandise is doing all right too, though our workers are not making anything, and that's something that's kind of confusing to me. Because I would think that we would have T-shirts, and the last time I checked, we had Zip merchandise. No top sellers here. We are upgrading to growing the business. If someone is familiar with this newer system and tell me what's happening that's wrong here, let me know. It might be just that they need to be exclusive contracts in order to sell shirts. Otherwise, they're just selling their own, and we're getting zero cut of it or something like that. I'm not positive. Same thing, if someone knows why we cannot change the CEO to anybody, only these people that are unemployed, let me know. Seems not that useful, unless maybe... No, it's anybody can work somewhere, any status, has business skill. That might be why. So we could give it to Tim Storm, but the fact that he has no business skill might not be a good idea. So let's reset that. So out of this list of people, we probably should get rid of DJ Hyde at some point. Probably not replace him with Quackenbush, as funny as that would be, but maybe somebody with some business skills, with some training skills, that might be good for us. Not sure who that would be. Maybe Bully Ray. Might not be a bad option. Isn't he in jail? Oh, there's definitely some options. Al Snow might not be a bad option to appoint. Maybe not a bad option. And then that would affect our CEO. I don't know if we can have a look into their business skills beforehand, but we'll have to do a little bit of research. Let me know if you guys have opinions though on who should be the CEO, or if we should keep Hyde as a CEO and just change Booker. But I would like to get somebody, maybe a pretty strong business head, that might be able to assist us both in the developmental and the growth of CZW. Obviously, they ain't growing now, so it'd be nice to kind of do something with them. All right, thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you next time.